My name is Crystal. Human trafficking survivor of satanic ritual abuse out of Alaska. People want to know what happened in human trafficking. Me and my family went through a lot. We were already living in a nice RV park. We paid the same amount of what was coming out anyways financially. These people really set me and my family up into a situation. It was right after the 2018 earthquake, November 30th. A few months later, I ended up, because I didn't have heat in my RV because of the earthquake, and there was ice around my door, and I slipped and I fell. And I was looking for a farm and already had my business plan up and going, and I even went into an agribusiness conference outside of Anchorage at that time. It was to secure food because there was a lot of flooding in the Midwest, and I thought, wow, I already seen bad stuff happening with the food. And News Channel 2 was there, and the mayor was there, and a whole bunch of people were there. And it was a great meeting. And I even brought up ideas to try to do dry and cold storage for farmers. And there was a Sam's Club, and maybe we could secure that building. And it's right there by the base, and that would help with security in an event of an emergency. So it was and I got to talk to back to school program and a lot of different things that's, that could have been beneficial for somebody trying to start a farm. And I was hoping to really bring my knowledge and my skills to Alaska. And I ended up falling out my RV door, taking a neighbor to the grocery store because his alternator went out. And I slipped and I hurt my back, and I didn't want to spend... I went into the doctor and he ordered an MRI, and I only had 80% coverage. And so I was scared about messing up my credit because I was getting ready to buy this house and a farm, and they had to pull my credit. So I didn't want no flaws on my credit. So I went into the state to go get this Obamacare. And I was talking to this lady in there when I was talking about the agribusiness conference. I just came out, not even a few weeks before. And well, there was my abusers sitting in the lobby, and then they joined in the conversation that they heard, and then they started talking about how they knew a whole bunch of farmers and the hoop house, and they built it from one of their friends, and he did all this government loan process through the rural area like I was trying to do. And after being into agribusiness, they were talking about networking, and really in business, you should network. So we exchanged numbers, and they seemed like not that bad of people. And he talked about having low-income housing out there, small little tiny cabins, and that I could maybe drop my, RV out there. And I was a little bit hesitant. I was just like, no, I really liked my spot where I was. I was right in Palmer, and it was centrally located, and I was only a mile away from the stores. My RV park was real clean. We had 6 hot showers where it was unlimited hot water. I had Wi-Fi free. It came with the RV park, amenities. So I had a whole bunch, and the neighbors were awesome. I lived there for a while, and over a year, and I never had a problem with any of my neighbors. It was a great place, and me and my kids and the dogs, we would take walks and pick flowers. It was such a awesome place. But after the earthquake, the septic tank and a few things needed to be repaired, and I knew that it could be an issue, and they kept on trying to say, just come out here. And they actually are the ones that called up Matanuska Towing and Recovery, and she paid for it with her credit card to get me out there, and I really did not want to go. And they already had this stuff up and arranged. Like, they were already having an arranged tow company on the way, everything up and going. Everything was really fastly, like, happening. And and that's just the start of it all. They pretty much knew that their property was flooding. A year before it started to flood, and him and his mother, William, and his mother, Catherine, had already bought 20 acres of land in Sutton, about 15 miles up, at mile 58. And they needed helpers, and I guess, you know, I just didn't know it going in what was the people that these people were. I did not know that her ex-husband was a satanic, Catherine's husband is a satanic ritual occultist, human trafficker. They did tell me the story about him, but said that he left and he was gone, and the problem was gone, and Willie was a big hero. All along, behind the scenes from Nevada, his dad was still actively in their life, and everything was happening behind the scenes. Yeah. This whole thing is a lot of turns and a lot of nasty. My family was pretty much being forced to work and move from the flood. We got there May the 29th, I think it was. And by June 15th, the river was already flooding. 2 weeks later. Perfect timing. That's what I'm saying. Everything was planned. And their lifetime, you know, well, they've lived in Alaska a lot of their life. So they know breakup. They live on the back of the river. They know this. Like, exactly when it is going to happen, and they know. So basically, these people already knew, and they had me call out my brother because when they needed help because the river was flooding. And my brother came out, and it never stopped. It was supposed to be just for the river, and then all of a sudden we're being trafficked into mile 58. I'm being pulled into the main house. I can't see my kids. We're forced into 16-hour days. Logging, it's really hard. Logging is not an easy job. If any men are out there that are loggers, you will know. Me and my kids were forced into logging their newly purchased property because their house was being swept away by a river, the Matanuska River. And they want me to look like I'm crazy, I'm deranged, I'm mentally not all there, so that they can lessen and make it look like I'm just unstable. Robert Dean and Catherine adopted 3 daughters out of Missouri, and they were raping the daughters. And they did the same thing to the daughters. They went in and they had him in jail. And then Catherine goes in there and gets brainwashed by her husband that if they don't release their father out of jail, that they're going to lose everything. So they made the daughters look like liars and that they weren't all there. And the one girl was in special education and didn't know what she was talking about. This is how these people operate. And I'm not going to stand back and allow this to happen to my name and my family's name and who I am. And I'm going to, you know, go forward with my life despite all this. I'm going to make changes happen in America with this human trafficking. It will be recognized. This is happening to Americans by our own people. My God, these are Americans, human trafficking Americans. This ain't in Honduras or Colombia or Mexico or any other place. This is right here in our backyards. And we're sending out all of our troops to go fight wars for what we call terrorists. And we got terrorists right here living in the USA. Just like the Black Eyed Peas would say. Which is the CIA and the FBI, if they're involved into this. Because I have reported it. I've contacted the DOJ, the CIA, and the FBI. Nobody's ever called me back. And if they did, it was just to gaslight me too. I want to move on with my life, but this is all not right. I'm not going to sit back and be clowned. You're not going to take my tragedy and clown on me. You're not going to take the death of my son and clown on me. This is where we were not going to have, this is where it's just, I don't like that. You're not going to sit here and clown on me and my family after what you've done, and you put me into a trap. I was fine in my RV park. My kid would have been alive, and I would have been fine and happy. I've already been into my farm by now. I've already been 3 years in the positive. Yeah. So you just think about all the help that we did for you, because right now you're able to throw up cabins on your land. You already have, from the work that we did, from the infrastructure that we put in, all the septic, all the electrical, all the lines, the road, 20 acres in road. Oh my God. All the moving of supplies and taking out free supplies, going to, get free supplies off Craigslist. We were non-stop working and moving materials, non-stop working. Firewood, meat. Oh man, you guys are still living off the works of what my people did. That's sick. Shameful. Very shameful. You should feel very, very shame for what you've done, to say the least. I can go and get people that I've known for many years before this situation in school, and people that's really know me, of good sources and reliable people. Just, they know who I am. I'm a good person. And what you've done to me and my family, and the atrocities, the sinister atrocities you have committed. And then on top of that, to make me look like I'm mentally ill, or I'm not all there, or I'm slow to learn. After you've been you poisoned me for 22 months with monk's hood, a neurotoxin that nobody has ever done any research to say, what are the effects of this? Shame on you guys.